Chris Palmer here live at the Fergus Grand Theatre here in Fergus, Ontario, and I have a couple of members from the FMJ Tribute Band Foreigner Meets Journey. Can you just tell us your name?
Mike Pelletier on bass.
Ian Jutson, lead vocalist.
How did you guys come about this tribute band? You started it 11 years ago.
I met Ian on a gig. First time I ever met him, at the end of the gig, he said, "Hey, I've been asked to play in this Foreigner and Journey and Styx band." I said, "Well, I don't like Styx, but I'm pretty sure you can do Steve Perry and Lou Gramm." So I said, "Sure, let's do it." So we got in the room, and after a little while, I fired everybody and kept Ian. And what you see is what you get today.
Actually, that's absolutely true. He did fire everybody, but it was this guy called me to want to do only a Journey tribute band, and that's what right. I said to him. I said, "Would you do a whole Journey tribute band?" He says, "I don't think I could do. There's not enough songs that I love a lot of the songs, but he says." I said, "What about Journey and Foreigner?" And then he said, "I'm in on that."
Yeah.
And so we threw out the Styx idea, but he did fire all those guys. The guy that brought me to do that band, he fired him.
Yeah.
And I laughed because he's the bass player I brought in, and we fired him. Then we fired everybody and rebuilt the whole band.
You stole the idea, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But that's what we had to do.
Now, I grew up in the 70s and 80s listening to Foreigner, Journey, Kiss, Supertramp. What makes Foreigner and Journey legendary? What made you guys become fans of those bands?
It's songwriting, it's performance, and the uniqueness of both bands. If you listen to those two bands, they don't sound the same at all. But each of them is iconic in their own right. And that was, I think, one of the beauties of the bands from the 70s through the 80s. They had their own sound, and that's what it was. And so you could like all of them, and there was a period, all those hair bands that just all sounded the same. These guys were very different, very musical too. So I think that's what did it for me, at least.
And later on, I learned that women really like this band.
Yeah, that's
right. So, I mean, there is no FMJ without all of the time that Foreigner and Journey spent romancing people in the back of their Camaros.
Yeah.
And at the high school gym, and at concerts, a little libation, a little weed, never hurt anybody. Yeah. So what we're doing is reliving sort of memories for people. We're just reminding them of where they were at a certain place in time, and hopefully those are good things, because they are for us.
They are.
Yeah.
The memories. I always say that when you come to a concert, that, this was once said at the Grammys, that music is the soundtrack of your life. And it's so true, because when you think about when you're hearing these songs, you start thinking about, what was I doing when I heard this the first time? And a lot of times you go, oh yeah, and it brings back all that great stuff that as you get older and you become involved in many other things, and some people become jaded, some become upset. If you think back to what you were doing when you were just really I guess you say footloose and fancy free, it can make you feel so good inside, and that's what we're trying to present. Just come here for a couple hours, let go of all that, and just enjoy it. Let your hair down if you still have it, right? And
I'm losing some of mine.
Yeah, well,
aren't we all?
To the club.
Yeah, I'm not losing mine. Mine's moving to other parts of my body.
Yeah, there you go. Well said.
What did you guys think of this performance tonight at the Fergus Grand Theatre here? This was my first time at the theatre, and I was quite impressed.
Thanks, Chris. It's our first time here also. We loved it. Great theater, great town people, acoustics, people in Fergus who came out to see us. Lovely. So, thank them for coming.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This is a start of a new venture for Ian and I to get in the theaters. We loved the time we had in the bars. We built an audience that way, and clubs. I think the theaters is where we're going to be. A couple of, it's like sea legs a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I think we're going to be just fine. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I do like, even with the sea legs thing, what I love, everything's live. There is no backing tracks in this band. There is none of that. So you're going to get everything, like I say, the good, the bad, the ugly. But that's rock and roll. That's music to me. Any music. In fact, anything. I've seen jazz bands that are playing, and the smallest little mistake is what makes it so great, because they don't make them often, or little things like that.
Well, why is jazz so quiet?
Because they don't know the chords.
It's a music of mistakes.
Yes. Little spine.
No, I love jazz.
Yeah. I love jazz too, but I'm just saying music. So it's just, to me, that's what it really does. It gives us that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys both this. I was born in the 70s too. I just find the creativity is not the same as it was back in the 70s and 80s. To me, 70s and 80s, and even the 60s, there was creativity and imagination and good story songwriting now.
I think I've given this a lot of thought because I do feel that when you listen to music that's produced today, it really doesn't have the depth. However, that's, I think, a product of an industry that imploded on itself. No one's putting money into the industry, so artists are left to finding their own money to do this. It's very expensive to record an album. You record an album, it costs on average, if you did it really frugally, 30 grand to do an album. And then no one's paying for music. So that cascading effect has removed money and financing. And back in the day, though, some of the bands that you heard, there were certain people in the band that were signed to what they call a writer's deal. They weren't making records. They were just writing with different people to really hone their talent. And then they put them out. But that requires money, and it requires money for promotion. And I think that with technology, as good as it can be on one hand, it's been very bad for music. So what this project does for us, and any one of the ones we're involved in are all like this, is it's live. So that's the only thing you can't replicate with technology. People do it, it doesn't sound the same. You got to be live, you got to have those bumps, you got to have those moments where you look at each other and you grin because somebody forgot to go somewhere, or I spin the lyrics around in the song like I did tonight. That's the real element, that's the human element. And I think that's what makes it different. It's not that there were more talented. You listen to some Lady Gaga tunes, incredible writing, right? But she at first she did it herself. She was hungry. She had a hit. They made some money. If you don't make money in this industry, you'll not be heard there. But there's a lot of talented people out there putting out amazing projects that most people will never hear because you got to seek it out. What's the vehicle to do that? It's hard to do. So I think that's been the factor for me.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
I think in our era, we had gatekeepers. Now you can make a record on your laptop, right? This is not the $30,000 idea. On your phone, you can make a record. And somebody who had influence and somebody who had money and an audience would say, we like it or we don't like it. Like essentially, Foreigner and Journey, they earned it. Like when they started out, if you listen to some of their early records, they're not full of hits.
No.
They might have a couple hits here and there, but there was a commitment and a dedication for people to keep going and keep building an audience. So when you do that, your songwriting gets better, your playing gets better.
100%.
You had support from radio. I mean, technology is great as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anything was as essential to building a career as radio was.
I agree.
And that's something that we don't have anymore. And radios were gatekeepers. They said, we either like it or we don't. Our audience likes it or we don't. We put it on, the phones are lighting up. Right?
And another, to that point of radio, that's a very good point, because radio back in the day, the station programmer, he programmed the music.
Yeah.
And the DJs programmed their own music.
Yeah.
So they would go out to clubs and they would see bands playing and say, do you guys have a record? I'd love to play it on my show. Then all of a sudden, around, I don't know what year it would be, but the industry took a turn and they went to programming services. So then the labels just started controlling the services, and the gatekeepers changed. And then the evolution was not always positive for musicians. And you make a good point about Journey.
Yeah.
Journey's first album, Steve Perry wasn't even in the band, and they both the keyboard player and Neil Sean and the drummer came from Santana. And the album didn't do so great. So the manager went out because he heard about Steve Perry. He was down in L.A. They were in San Francisco, and he brought him up and told them that this is going to be a new roadie. Because he didn't want to tell them that, he's going to ease them in. And their second album, which had Feeling That Way, was Greg Rowley and Steve Perry singing. So to your point, there was a commitment. They didn't say, we're dropping this band. These days, if a label were to sign you for whatever they're signing, and your album stiffs, does nothing the first one, you're done.
Yeah.
There is no second album.
Yeah.
Right? I know someone who recorded 2 albums and they never released them.
Yeah, sure.
The label said, we don't like either of them, and they never released them. So that's a good point. A very good point.
Right.
And before we wrap up this interview, can you just tell us about your other band members as well?
Yeah, our newest member is Mike Conto on guitar. Ian and I played with him all kinds of different bands, working bands for years and years. Brought him in because not only is he a great guitar player, really nice guy, and he's a good singer. Juliet Jones is on keys. She's just turned 28.
Wow.
Yeah, very talented.
Yes.
Great player.
She did her first gig with us when we asked her to do it without rehearsal.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I have
She's
to
very
say.
talented.
She came right in.
She has a background in songwriting, musical theater. Just a very talented girl. She plays guitar also. Great to have her in the band. Tim Gittins, I mean, what can you say? How many gigs does this guy do in a week? I don't know. Everybody in Toronto knows who he is. He's well liked. He plays great. I'm happy, to have him as my rhythm section partner. And talk about Syl.
Well, Sill's been around. I mean, he's toured with Red Rider for years, and Triumph, played with Triumph. And I met him years and years ago, 1995 or 96. And when we started this band 11 years ago, I thought of him, but he said, I'm too busy. He does a lot of sessions for people. So he was too busy doing sessions, and he had other bands he was playing. And then we both in another band together, and he joined the band recently. I've been in there for 10 years. So he's been in there for a couple of years. And I said, okay, now your time's free. What about FMJ?
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And now he's having a great time. At least I think he is.
I think he seems to
And
be.
he's a monster on guitars. And so rounds out the band. We've got a great, talented group. And they're dedicated. And we're happy.
Yeah, it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
What's one word to describe your band, and what's one fun fact about your band?
One word to describe the band.
Truth.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth there. For
truth.
sure. It's raw. It's truthful.
Truthful. Everything
Yeah.
you see is that, and we don't pull
it's
punches.
honest.
Yeah,
it's honest for sure.
100%.
Honest. And sorry, what was your other question, Chris?
Fun fact?
Fun fact. Fun fact. Ian and I talk a lot on stage about things you may not want me to repeat here.
During the show.
During the show.
And I'm going to put you on the spot here, too. Out of all the songs, that Journey and Foreigner have a lot of great songs. Which songs are kind of you're a little bit more of a favorites?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we've narrowed it down to some of our favorites. Like they're all favorites. That's why
they're
we
all
put
great.
them. We put them in the show because they have a huge repertoire. But we've narrowed it down to these. So I would say probably all of them.
Jukebox is fun to me to play.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, there's.
I get to play two notes almost by myself. That's pretty good. Okay, we gotta strike because our sound guys.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this up. And where can our audience find you guys on social media and your website?
Facebook, Foreigner Meets Journey. All the gigs are there. Go find us.
Final words.
I just want to thank you, and I hope to see all of you out there.
Yeah.
And your next performance?
March the 28th, Port Colborne. We'd love to see you.
Roselawn Theatre. Yeah.
Roselawn Theatre. Tickets are online.
Thank you guys so much. And
Thank
make sure you check out FMJ Tribute Band to Foreigner and Journey. They're worth it. 5-star review. Big thumbs up. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate it,
much.
Chris.
Okay.